Thank you. Awesome.
Do you want to check around? Where is everything today? Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. Who's going to lead us in prayer today? Thank you. You're welcome. Let us pray together. Lord, we come to you knowing that, first of all, we need to thank you for all the blessings that we receive each and every day from you. Today, Lord, we come to you with concern and tears, and we lift the people in Afghanistan. All of the fighting, the killing, the senseless waste. We don't know what the outcome of that will be, but we ask, Lord, that we put it in your hands, and we ask that you keep the people safe from the Taliban. We also lift to you this morning, Lord, the people from Haiti. There was a horrible earthquake, and on top of that, tropical storms and other things that have caused a lot of damage there. And we know fellow Rotarians who have gone to Haiti to serve and taken mission trips. And there certainly is a lot of devastation. I heard this morning there's over 2,000 people now declared dead, and some still missing. We lift all of those individuals and their families. We lift the people that have gone to help, the people that are going to help them recover and repair and restore, to provide shelter and food. We have no comprehension of that, Lord, but let us have the compassion that we need in order to help them at this time. We thank you today, Lord, for our speaker. We ask that she share with us lots of information related to a subject very near and dear to our whole community. In your name we pray. Amen. Is the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And the four-way test, please. First, is it the truth? Second, is it fair to all concerned? Third, will it build goodwill and better friendships? Fourth, will it be beneficial to all concerned? Thank you very much. All right, so a couple things we just want to discuss, and then we have a wonderful speaker today that I'm very excited to see and hear from. So just a friendly reminder, and Stacy did reach out to me and asked, so I just want to clarify, we are currently doing that children's clothing drive. It is for the Marshall County FRN, and all of the proceeds go to the DHHR and CPS, then it goes directly to the foster care, foster children in foster care. So we can take any type of donation, monetary donation, or any of the items listed on that flyer that we gave out. I have plenty more if anybody wants to see some of those. But I was thinking, be creative too. If you want to do some shopping, I know Stacey reached out. She said, "Can we fill a book bag?" Absolutely. If somebody wants to fill a book bag or donate any belonging that could go in there. But I was also thinking too is, I know that they really need stuff for the babies, so maybe we can do a diaper bag, something like that for them. So then whoever is going to take care of them has all their needs right there. So just want to let you know that's going on through the end of August. Me and a couple other Rotary members are going to do some shopping right at the end of August with any of the proceeds we have raised. I know that every single Saturday class that I'm teaching, my fitness classes, I'm donating all my proceeds to it. So I think we've got like $80 right now, and we still have 2 more classes. Joelle reached out. She said she was going to possibly do a class with me or donate some of hers from yoga. So, and then I know that we can do drop-offs at Sleep In, thank you, and then at Altmeyer's, which I updated on the event page. Altmeyer's would just be though Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. All right, just wanted to bring this up. Don't know if this was ever something you all did in the past. If you're interested in, not interested in, open for all comments. But the Grandview Park Fall Festival is a go at this time. That will be the last Saturday of September. Obviously, things can change in that time frame. It is an outside event, but any nonprofit group can set up a table there for absolutely free. We didn't know if the Rotary wanted to set up a table there. If that's something they're interested in doing. Unfortunately, I will be working the Fall Festival and I have to leave a little bit early that day. It is from 10 to 6 p.m. All vendors need to be set up by 9 a.m. So didn't know if that's something our club wants to entertain, sees value in, wants to discuss. Maybe we can wait till our club discussion to just follow up with it. Any input?
I think it's definitely a good idea. It's just can we get people to work out, even if it's a shift. What day was that?
It's a Saturday, September 25th. And it is a long day. It's from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. And we would need to have just a table and an easy up set up by 9 a.m. before the event starts.
I think it's a great idea.
Yeah,
Get our name out there.
I do too, but who's gonna work it? I think it's a great idea, but I'm not gonna commit to working it on the weather. I'm a wimp right now.
Yeah. So maybe I can put like a sign-up sheet together, and then at our club discussion on September 1st, we can see if we have any volunteers to fill in their slots. If we can get those volunteers, then it's a go. So I'll be happy to do that. Thank you all.
I will not be here to be able to help, or I would have. But I will say there is a lot of traffic. I've done the Fall Festival 2 or 3 years with the 4-H Club. And, and I don't know that we'll be doing it again this year. But there is, because again, I'm not going to be in town, so no one seems to want to take up the, thanks Josh.
And it is sadly one of those things that weather can really make or break that day. You know, if it's cold or rainy, not a lot of people come out. Last year we didn't have one, but the year before it was like 60 degrees. I was sunburned because I was just running around all day. But I mean, we had probably 3,000 to 4,000 people attend, visitors.
I'm just gonna make a comment, and I'm not trying to be a downer.
You are not
But
a downer.
But I'm thinking about how many years we participated out at the penitentiary at the expo. And the thing that people would come for is what freebies were you giving away?
Mm-hmm.
What were you doing? We would have raffle tickets to sell, and we'd sell a few, but there was never any overwhelming number to say that it was a significant fundraiser. And of course that was inside, and it was Friday night, Saturday, all day, and we did manage to get people to come. But I think that to just set up a table with Rotary on it, I don't know what kind of impact it's going to have. People will stop and say hello and everything, but they just continue on. You know?
This is at the craft expo, is that what it is?
No, the business expo, but that's kind of the
the
people
one
who were
for
there.
us, this that we're talking about.
All this time?
The Fall Festival.
That
Festival
might be
of
a
Grandview
different
Park.
venue, because I think with the expo, you're not really looking to like spend money anyways. It's more like an information thing. So they do want the freebies, but I'm thinking like the venue change, like people hopefully are going to this show to hopefully spend money.
Yeah,
So-
I would say 80% of the booths are like crafters or somebody
Maybe
selling
not the
something.
same crowd.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
and
And then there's a whole kiddie land that's free for
You think?
kids.
I didn't think it was nearly as bad this year. There weren't as many people, but the ones that were there were more serious. There weren't the ones that just came to scoop things into their bag, which are the ones that we had, that one comes to it, we had for free.
I will say I come back with a whole lot more freebies
Yeah, people
this
were
year
pushing
than I
stuff,
have
because I told
ever come
the
back
kids
with.
they weren't allowed to take a bunch of stuff,
Yeah.
and people kept pushing like, they're going, no, they told us to take more.
Yeah, I brought back boxes.
First of all, for COVID, so I
Mhm.
think that people are less
Whoop.
likely, are less
Sorry,
likely to
okay.
pick things up
Right.
unless it's something that they absolutely want. I do agree with Carol. I know I've been there, very rarely do you get anybody, but are we going to sell anything? I mean,
Right.
if we're gonna have something to sell, then that might be, it wouldn't be bad because we're doing both. But I don't think just being an information booth, we're gonna get really very many people. And I know that's, and I hate kind of feeling the same way.
Yeah.
I love getting our name out. but I'm not sure unless we had some sort of basket raffle or something.
Yeah.
The one year that we probably had a lot of traffic, and it wasn't right at our table, was the year that we had the disaster tent that we set up, and they brought all that in, and we set that whole thing up, and people loved going through that and looking at it. So we had a lot of traffic there, but again, there wasn't anything. They came in, they looked, we talked about where they were used and how they got dispensed and all that and how it came to be. But there wasn't really a lot of, we hoped to encourage some folks that might be interested in joining Rotary. And we had pamphlets and things that we would pass out.
But those people knew, at least when they left, they knew something. that
They
Rotary
did. They did.
I mean, if we had a disaster tent up there.
And maybe if we had like pumpkins for polio, where you put your name on a pumpkin, and I was just trying, or rabbits for Rotary, or I'm just trying to think of fall stuff. You know what I'm
bringing in the rabbits.
No, but you know what I mean. Something like a catchy little thing,
Yeah.
and
Pumpkins
then
for
they would
polio.
say, "Well, what's
Day
polio got
coming
to do with the pumpkin?" Well, the money that we're donating, that you purchase this little cardboard pumpkin for, or go over to the little Captina Creek and buy a whole box of those little itty bitty pumpkins.
That's cute.
I'll find out for sure too. I know in years in past, we always did a pumpkin or gourd toss. It was free, but you had to bring your own, but everybody forgot to bring their own. So if we could get small pumpkins or gourds, and then for donations,
Yeah.
then that could be a benefit.
I think that's cute.
I don't know if this is silly or not, but I was thinking of like putting those dry poster boards that like stand up
Mhm.
with all of our volunteer projects.
Yes.
Photos and a little description of what all we do at, cause
Yeah.
I didn't know about Rotary before this. I didn't know really what they did. So I think that's what drew me is, oh my gosh, we're really making an impact.
Yeah, and like I said, we don't have to do pumpkin, but that was the only thing.
I love it.
Pumpkins for
I love
polio.
it.
That
I
was
like
the
that.
only thing.
That's kind of a cute idea.
And World
because-
Polio is coming up in
Okay,
October.
a year Mimi comes and she's got a granddaughter, and what's Mimi gonna do, spend $1 on a pumpkin?
To pumpkin.
I'm going to carry for her all day.
You're gonna do a smile about it.
You know?
Yeah, well, and then you can toss it at like 2 o'clock, so you don't have to carry it all the rest of the day.
Oh, good Lord, you can't toss the pumpkin.
But that was just an idea, some kind with all of our
That would be
informational
a
stuff,
cute
but then a little,
Make it a little more jazz.
give us a buck and you can.
Well, and then we donated to polio, so that's what we
Mhm.
do. It's kind of a fundraiser, we make it fun, and if they wanna draw on it, we can have markers.
Like have a little table off to the side with crap.
If they wanna put stuff on
So
it.
they can glue a couple things on there, so you have
Yeah.
litter all over.
I'll have to-
Now, see, I'm upset that I'm not gonna be there this year. This sounds fun.
Tell Park I have to work the Rotary booth. I'm sorry, I can't work.
But that would just be, along with our information, something a little bit interactive.
I think that's a good
That
idea.
is
I do
really
too.
the most
I just think
information.
unfortunately, there has to be something to catch attention.
I agree. I was wondering if we should have done the expo because I saw the lions were set up there and they sell brooms. Is that what they do
Right.
there?
Well, I think we
The
should have, but we
Lions,
need
yeah.
to plan ahead.
Yeah.
And then again, we're all at our own booths.
Yeah. Well, we'll definitely, love all these ideas. Let's just dig a little deeper on September 1st and see if that's something that we will be able to facilitate if we can get the volunteers. So
When will we need to know, like, when will we let people know, like,
When I was doing it for the
they will
4-H,
take people up.
like I
until
said,
day
the
before.
pumpkins and gourd, I think you
Yeah,
bought some.
so
I
that's
took
not a
wagons
problem.
and had
We
the
go
kids
just
haul the
first
stuff.
or,
But
that
Captina
weekend.
Creek,
we can provide our own
which is a
tools?
produce
Yeah,
auction
right on our
over
table and
just
Easy
across the
Up,
river.
I have an easy
Um,
up. I can get to from
they
the park.
sell,
I have a
you can get a whole skid
small table.
full of little itty bitty pumpkins, or even if you just,
And depending on like how many people, it might be easier to transport a smaller one.
it's an auction, so it is just,
Gotcha.
yeah. Because there's been times that we've went,
Really briefly
they-
wanted to discuss
will.
what else we're gonna talk about on September 1st, so we can come in here with a little preparation and kind of hit the ground running, but I know we've been talking about this for years, so we're going to take some action and move forward with alternate meeting time. What does that look like for you? When would you wanna meet? How many times a month? Where? How formal would you like it to be? Would we have speakers at this evening event? So just some things to think about. I know what I would like to see, but obviously want to make sure it's something that the whole entire club backs and, so that's something I wanted to discuss. Also, we wanted to follow up on all of our projects on September 1st, and then also thought that I will print off a list and bring it in on September 1st of all of our Rotary members, because I feel like we have a great attendance. People are coming back out. We're lacking about half of our members. So I was thinking if each person could just take one person off the list and make a phone call and check in with them. How are you doing? We care about you. We think about you all the time. So just a little follow-up there. So just wanted to let you know about that. And then obviously anything else this club wants to discuss. This is our club, so bring some great ideas on September 1st. I don't want to take any more time because we have the best speaker today. Well, all of our speakers are pretty amazing. But is there anything else that the club wanted to discuss before I turn it over? All right. Well, I will go ahead and introduce Brianna Hickman. She is going to be representing the new place that she works at, West Virginia Northern Community College. And she is going to discuss substance abuse intervention. That's one of your roles there. I'm going to say one of your roles because she wears many hats at West Virginia Northern. And I'm sure you'll maybe share a couple of those with us. But thank you, Brianna. We are very much looking forward to hearing from you.
You guys already know who I am. If not, then I'm sorry that I've been here for 3 years and you don't know. Flyers up. There's just some little info on the program itself, and I want this to be a conversation. In all the other groups that I've talked to, you guys are gonna have questions. I want you to have questions because while substance abuse is something that I think, that this is something that affects a lot of us, but sometimes not as closely. I'm gonna answer something because I see Sharon on your camera. But so as most of you know, this is something I've been really passionate about for a while because I have 2 younger brothers. One passed away 8 years ago from an overdose, and the other has been clean for a little over 4 years now, I think. He has a 2-year-old. He just found out we're going to have another niece and nephew soon in February, so he's doing amazing. He enrolled back in school. We got a 4.0. He's going to be this spring. So I'm just really passionate about this in general. So but it's something that is really near and dear to my heart. But so back in January, I started this position with West Virginia Northern Community College. I'm technically considered the program manager for this grant. What happened is in last September, we were awarded a $1.5 million grant from the Human Resources and Services Administration. It's HRSA, that's what we call it. So we were awarded $1.5 million to create these programs to provide training and education, hands-on hours, to students in the community who want to work as an intervention technician or a specialist. Technicians and specialists are basically familiar with mental health technicians in any sort of treatment facility. They're kind of just checking in on patients, making sure they're good to go, helping them throughout the day, answering any questions they might have, anything like that. So we got the $1.5 million and we're funded until 2024. Hopefully we'll continue to seek outside funding, or if the college can sustain it itself, we're going to see what happens, but we're at least funded until 2024. I'm very proud to say, so I started in January and we had 2 students. I'm not going to say this because I wasn't on board to recruit those 2 students, but we now, when I left the office this morning, we have 24 enrolled. Wow. Now that's 24. I was telling Ashley earlier, we're president, Mike's not here to correct me, but I'm going to Martinsville after this because we're having a welcome back event to welcome all of our new students. And I enrolled, I believe, 10 students just in New Martinsville. So there's a handful of Wheeling, a handful in New Martinsville. And I'm hoping when I get back to the office, I'll have another 3 registered in Weird. So we've got a handful of students who are doing that. And so what these programs are going to do is provide, like I said, the hands-on education and training. So we have a 1-year program and a 2-year program. That 1-year program, if you're familiar, there's the West Virginia Prevention Board has opportunities for people who have their own personal recovery stories to be a peer recovery support specialist. So we offer that credential. We meet all of the requirements for that state credential. You pay for that, like the certification exam, which I think is like $75. We cover the cost for that. We offer kind of like a refund to the students, so we pay for their tuition, their textbooks, and they get a little bit of a refund back to help with whether they have to cut back hours because they're in school and it's hard to juggle all of that stuff. Think full-time, part-time, really else you can think of. We're trying to be as accommodating as we really can because I think right now, out of my 24 students, I would say about 70% of them have their own personal recovery story. Now, whether that's they've been clean for 6 months or they've been clean for 20 years. I have students who are literally right out of high school. I have students who, I think my oldest is 67 and she's going back to school because this is just what she's really passionate about. And as of yet, we've never had a program like this. We're actually the first in the state to be awarded any sort of funding for this. So we're kind of like the lead on this, and hopefully one of our goals is to be able to take this statewide and be able to implement that and really make a difference. Most of our students right now are from the Wheeling area. Like I said, some in New Martinsville, but kind of like, this is in the valley. Because our classes are online in the fall right now, because of COVID protocols, I do have one who's in Pocahontas County, I have one who's in Mineral County, but they're online, so why not take advantage of it? And we're hoping this is gonna be kind of like our first test to see, can we do this statewide? Because really all we need to do is make sure that their internship, their placement that they have to do at the end of each program, that meets our requirements, and most of the treatment facilities are gonna do that. So that's the 1-year program. The fun part, I gotta need to find the right word for it. But what we can do, if a student, like I said, I have students from all kinds of backgrounds. So whether they're right out of high school and maybe this is their first dip into college or higher education in general. Maybe they just want to do the 1 year just to dip their toes in, see, hey, can I manage this? Can I do this? If they decide that I really actually like this and want to continue on, we have a 2-year program. The salaries for those positions really don't differ very much, but it does give you that increased education and training hours. And then with that additional year of education, I have a handful of students who want to be substance use counselors, so they can take that 2-year associates that they have and go to a 4-year institution and go on and continue with their counseling degree. So they're going to have that very specific background in substance use treatment and intervention. We reworked, I would say, actually all of our classes that are required for the program. There's probably 20 classes maybe. Almost all of them are actually reworked, so they're actually specific to substance use. So if we had, say, we had an abnormal psychology class, it's been revamped, so it actually includes information on substance use disorder. And substance use is not just opioids. So substance use is alcohol, substance use is over-the-counter prescription, like anything that someone it's just a substance, it's not, water's not gonna count. But anything that's, if you're not supposed to be using like that. So, I'm trying to think. Usually someone's asked a question by now. So we have the 2-year program, and then at the end of that, they'll receive their associate's degree, and they can move forward to a 4-year institution. Just keep the associates and find a position as an intervention specialist. Right now, there's a huge demand for that because I know most of you have probably seen like the opioid crisis is not going away. We actually had an increase of over 40% in overdose deaths, mostly I think due to the pandemic the past year. We had actually been on a declining trend, and this past year's data came up and we're 40% over where we were the year before. It's not going away, and what's really fantastic about this program, this is where I started to get like kind of emotional about it. These people who are interested in the program, like I said, most of them have their own personal recovery story. They're having someone in that position, working as a technician or a specialist who has that knowledge of what it feels like. And I use this example all the time. I told you about my own brothers. I could have told both of them every single day, hey, you're going down the wrong path. This is not what you want to do. doesn't matter coming from me. I mean, it does a little bit, but that's not gonna be the push that someone needs. Having someone who has been there, who knows what the highs feel like, who knows what those lows feel like, who knows how rough that can be, that's gonna make a world of a difference. So we have, this is what happens. We have 24 students who are gonna be working in this field.
Brianna, while you're getting yourself together, let me ask a question that might help a little bit.
That'd be great.
This program is, if it's full-time, it's a year, and when a person would graduate from the program,
Yes.
my first question is there adequate employment for 24 people in the state or out of the state? And what kind of a salary would an individual like that make?
So for the 1-year program that they're gonna start as technicians, you see how quickly my voice just changed like that? But for the 1-year program for the technicians, that salary, they're gonna start off at usually around $12 to $13 an hour in this area. I actually have a student who has already accepted a position as a technician in Parkersburg. He's gonna be making $18 an hour. That's a really good deal.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it really depends on your location, and they are needed statewide. I think right now, I'm trying to think, they just opened up a new treatment facility over in Wheeling. Those positions are available, and I think that especially if you have people who are qualified to be in those positions, it's going to become even more demanding. Especially knowing the biggest thing is that we don't have enough beds for people, which is something that this program unfortunately can't really address. But as those facilities keep opening up, and hopefully they do have this increase in overdoses and just drugs in general. There is a trend throughout the state right now. There are a couple different cities and municipalities who have banned treatment centers from opening up anymore, at least for like the next 2 or 3 years. Whether that's going to do anything, I'm not sure. But the demand is still there. And what's great about this is, so there are these certifications nationwide. So once you get that certification, each state has their own credentialing board, but most of them have reciprocity with each other. So it's just a matter of filing the correct paperwork. We're really big in my department. I don't want to say we handhold, but we want to make sure that people get the resources they want or need, especially knowing we have so many students who are first-time students or did their stint, 10 years ago, weren't in the right spot whatsoever, whether that was when they were using, whether, just not at the right time. So it's kind of like their first try back in right now. If you know anyone who is an addict, and I say is because once you are always an addict. If you know anyone who's been through that, you know how sometimes it seems like it's always one thing after another that's just like, why is this happening? And something else bad happens, and they just can't seem to get that uplifting thing. So we're really big, it's just a team of 2, it's myself and my colleague, but I'm really big on making sure, now while we're not bending over backwards for someone, making sure they have the resources and make sure they have those easily. So it's not just, oh, we'll go find this. We want to make sure that they actually can get those and be successful in the program.
Are you concerned about the virtual for the fall? I mean, I think when freshmen go in and the
Yes.
virtual, I think it's hard.
We have a few students who have already expressed concerns about it. Unfortunately, it's not something we can really change right now. We're hoping what will happen is in the spring, things will, when the classes were designed, we were still under a different COVID protocol at the college, so they just had to be virtual. Now I think there are some in-person classes, but it just so happens that I would say 99% of hours are actually virtual. Some of them are just completely online, no set meeting time, but I think about half of them are actually like, you have to be here 2 o'clock on this day. Like it's still a virtual classroom that way. Yeah. There are a couple of in-person classes, but it's not the norm right now. But hopefully, we're hoping to continue having the virtual options in the spring, but hopefully also have the in-person so that way people can actually, especially if that's your first stint in college, like that in-person connection is really important. But that's also why I've tried to, I was telling Ashley, I'm going to Martinsville after this, so that way they at least have some sort of actual connection, and it's not just, oh, I'm doing this on the computer, you know, it is what it is. But yeah, that is a concern. But it's honestly, at this point, it's better than not being able to have classes at all. So we're gonna hopefully work with it. I guess I'll come back to you in spring and tell you what I found out about that.
So piggybacking on Carol, what are some local employers, not so Wheeling, but around here, where like something like a 2-year degree that
Where they work?
places where you actually utilize
Yeah.
this degree, like.
So, Northwood treatment facilities, all of those throughout the Panhandle and in New Martinsville and everywhere, they're gonna be really great. We actually have, it's not an official partnership yet, but we're gonna be working with them to actually place our students, because at the end of each program, they have, what we're essentially calling their capstone requirement, that they have that in-person. I guess they could technically do telehealth, but that's up to the facility, whether they wanna do that or not. But we're trying to get them in person so they can actually get that hands-on experience and, you know, be there and be on the ground. So there's Northwood, we work really closely with Serenity Hills. There's a list, I have a list of about 20 different facilities in the region that we're planning to have agreements with, so that way we can have our students there.
So there is opportunity.
Oh, for sure, yeah, and there's still, Wheeling hasn't, I think Parkersburg, and I want to say, I don't think it was Huntington. Could have been Carson. There, I know there are at least 2 larger municipalities, cities in West Virginia who have banned any new treatment facilities from opening up in their boundaries, basically. Wheeling's not one of those, so a new one just opened up. I want to say it was last week over in the Elm Grove area, so they're still happening. We're still getting those additional beds. So we've got a list, yeah, like I said, at least 20 some that we're going to reach out to and get. They've already said that they're interested. We just have to finalize it and say, hey, we have a student.
A lot of addicts who are in recovery now have a criminal background.
Yes.
Typically drug related.
Yes.
I'm assuming they can still.
Yeah, so
Classes, but how does that impact their employment opportunities?
it does to an extent. So it doesn't preclude a student from taking classes or even being in our program. And most treatment facilities, they have, a forgiveness policy isn't really the correct word for it. It's more of like a waiver. And there are so many factors that go into this too. So if you're currently pending some sort of drug charges or just charges in general, they're probably not going to take you. I mean,
from probation from actual.
Probation, it's still up to the facility. It's almost like a case by case, but there is, through the West Virginia CARES Act, that's like the insurance policy basically. So if, it's all those different factors. So probation, you probably, again, depending on the charge that you're, dealing with, you're probably gonna be okay. I actually, I had a potential student come to my office on Thursday. And he's not enrolled yet because we have some background work that we've got to do. I think he's around 50 years old, and he committed murder when he was 19. I won't go into the details or anything like that, but I think it was wrong place, wrong time. He was a young kid, he served 30 years in prison. I mean, he's already been out, he's gone to college and everything. What we're working with now is with these different agencies to make sure that, because that's the crime he committed 30 years ago. Is that going to penalize him for the rest of his life? How's he going to get a job? For those of you who know anything about me, this is one of the reasons I left the Public Defender's Office. God bless him, he did amazing work. But I had clients who were the same age as me who dropped out of school when they were in 6th grade. That person can't read, they can't write, they can't do anything. That person is therefore almost dedicated to a life of crime, because what else can they do? We don't want that to happen to any of our students. If you have another potential student who has a much more recent violent crime, it's not going to happen. So it depends on how long ago it was. Has there been any sort of rehabilitation at all? This guy I met with on Friday brought me a binder of every single certificate that he received from all of his training and education courses that he had done while he was incarcerated. He brought me his baptism certificate. He brought me all of the classes that he's taught just to other incarcerated people knowing that he wants to be the right influence for them. He's in the right place. He's doing what he needs to do. Where this other guy have maybe not so much. There's no sense of rehab for this other individual. So it really is a case by case basis with those. But there are definitely opportunities for them still. It just takes a little bit longer to get that background stuff taken care of.
So many questions, but I'm going to limit it to just one. We'll talk after.
Yeah.
But so this is the first program here in West Virginia.
The first one that's been awarded funding by HRSA. There are some similar classes, but not a program itself in any other institution that I'm aware of.
So have you seen other states that have had programs like this that have been successful? And what is that rate that these people, go through, pass all their classes, and then successfully get a job in?
So right now, I'm not aware of any other states that are doing the same thing that we are. I did just recently find out that Blue Ridge Community and Technical College, I believe is in Virginia, I'll have to double check on the actual state. They have a 1-year program that's kind of similar to our 1 year, but from what I see on their website, I don't know that it offers the same credentials that we can possibly offer, but still, we're looking to make sure if someone did go there, could that 1-year program just kind of take over our 1 year so we can move straight to the 2-year. So there are some variations of other programs, but right now we don't have no one we consider partners or anything like that, or someone to look to like, hey, has this been successful? To my knowledge, this is the first round of like HRSA funding, so this is kind of like the guinea pig test almost. So we have roughly so we were funded from 2020 all the way to 2024 to see what the success rates are going to be. I will be completely honest. Our 2 students in the spring, neither one of them succeeded. Neither one succeeded. But we do think too that that may have had something to do with COVID, because that's a huge learning curve on top of everything else they were dealing with. And we don't know that they had all the resources because the program itself wasn't staffed. So we don't know if they got that additional contact that they needed to make sure that they were on track. So we're very hopeful about the 24 we have. And of course, you're going to have some fall through the cracks because that's just the way life works. But I have a really good core group of students who I think are going to be really, I had one call earlier today and she's already logged in. She's already done her orientation course because she wanted to make sure she knew how to, work the online system. And it's so, I promise I'm going to wrap up with now. This work is so fulfilling. And most of you know me, I don't cry very easily. So the fact that I had to stop, this is going to make a huge difference, not just in Northern and these students' lives, but really in our community. And I'm not going to say that that's going to happen tomorrow because they have to get in, they have to actually be working. But the more people we have with their own stories, or at least having the compassion and the empathy for people in this position, that's going to make a world of a difference. And I really think we'll start to see changes within the next couple of years. And hopefully I can, come back and tell you, yes, we've seen good things. But right now we're just in the beginning phases. So I'm sorry I kept you 6 minutes over. But if anyone has any more questions, I'm going to be here for a little bit longer anyways. And I'm happy to talk, happy to chat, happy to do everything. All right.
So